Hey, what's up, guys? This is Hero, and today I'm going to be discussing the Sun transit into Libra. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Libra is Sun's debilitation sign, and I'm not going to make this super complicated like the Moon and Mercury transit videos. Okay, there was a lot of components kind of going on, which made it so important, but this one there's really only one aspect of it, and that's that the Sun is going into its debilitation sign. Okay, there are a couple minor things that I'll touch on, but basically the point I want to make, this Sun is going into Libra from like October, I want to say like 17th-ish to November 16th-ish. Okay, so that 1 month. Now, when that happens, the reason why Sun gets debilitated in Libra, well, what we have to understand, what does Sun represent? So Sun represents, in Indian astrology, okay, Jyotish. I know in Western astrology it represents the soul and all this stuff, but in Indian astrology it kind of represents the ego, okay, which is the false soul. But in the Western world, we view the ego as who we are, okay. But in more Eastern civilizations, we understand that we're not the ego, okay. But moving on from that, we understand that the Sun gets debilitated in Libra, right? Now I just said that the Sun represents ego, and Libra. Why does the ego get debilitated in Libra? Well, Libra is all about other people. So the Sun likes to just think about us. Okay, the world revolves around us. Now, when the Sun goes into Libra, what could happen is the ego is kind of focused on other people. Okay, it does not like that at all. Now, so from like November 17th, October 17th-ish, like November 16th-ish, I think, if I remember properly, you could feel this kind of energy inside you that, especially with your ego, that like you need to do things for other people. Okay, I would recommend being aware of that and understanding that that's not who you are at a soul level. That's just kind of like your ego acting out. Okay. Now, also, one thing that we need to understand is that the Sun is kind of, it's conjunct Mars, especially for the October part of it. When that happens, basically you could feel that urge to kind of do things for others much more strongly. Okay, like you could feel like, oh, like you know, like for example, Sun in Libra, it makes you want to just it makes your ego want to do things for other people. But when it's conjunct Mars as well, it makes you more aggressive and more rash in your actions. Okay, so it's like you really want to, like, you could really have the tendency to show off. Okay, which is now, like I said in my moon transit video, when you kind of have some of these quote unquote negative energies, you don't have to necessarily look at them as bad. Okay, what's good and bad is all relative. Now, when these energies kind of come to light, that can be a great time. And like I said, these energies, like, they don't come around too often. Okay, like I'm not sure when the next time is going to happen when Sun is in Libra, its debilitation sign, and it's with Mars, and it doesn't have any positive aspects. And this time, Sun actually has the aspect of Saturn, which is another malefic, which I'm going to cover in a couple minutes. But now, so like I said, these energies come once, so I would recommend that you utilize them to your advantage, okay? Because you don't know when the next time these are going to come around. And when you become more aware of these energies, you kind of maintain that awareness, and you're able to gain higher levels of that awareness throughout your life. Okay, so versus like when this transit is over, you might not be as aware of, you know, your ego's tendency to kind of please others. Okay, you'll be aware of it, but not as aware of it. Like right now, like I said, when it comes to this specific aspect about doing things for others, especially from an ego standpoint, like showing off, like, you know, wearing all kinds of crazy clothes and like you know, focusing too much on materialistic things in the sense of pleasing others, you'll notice this like 4 to 5 times as usual than if you were to meditate, like, let's just say 2 months from now. Okay, so like, for example, if you were to and especially with Mars with it and Saturn aspecting it, I'm going to cover the Saturn aspect actually right now before I get into kind of the quote unquote solution. So I just said the Mars aspect of it makes it so that you could feel that tendency much more aggressively, okay? That to go like really just outrageously over the top. Now, Saturn is with Jupiter in its own sign of Capricorn, and it's aspecting Libra. And Saturn actually gets exalted in Libra. So Saturn's all about serving others, right? It's like the karmic equalizer, okay? And that gets exalted in Libra. So what does that mean? That could mean that, okay, yeah, the ego, it wants to always do things for others, but sometimes it has to do things for others, okay? Like, so it'll kind of, that Saturn aspect, it'll kind of help you recognize what you want to do for others, like showing off and stuff, and what you have to do. For example, like helping other people out, or like taking care of someone, something like checking in on people, stuff like that. Now, like I said, this is the sun at the end of the day, so it's not just gonna like for example, you could feel like that energy of like, okay, you know, I'm only helping people out to kind of boost my ego in a way to feel better about myself. But like I said, that's just part of the energies. What I would do, like I said, is, sorry, I don't know how much you can hear that car, but what I would do is, your ego wants, I'd be aware of them. So basically you kind of detach from the ego in that sense, okay? You'd kind of just accept the fact that it's okay if you're not pleasing others. It's okay if others aren't looking at you like, you know, you're some hotshot or something like that. You would kind of detach from that sense of the ego getting pleasure off of you doing things for other people. And then I'd hone in on the energies of Saturn, kind of placing that aspect on it, and it telling your ego kind of what you have to do for other people, okay? So like, if you really want to feel good about yourself for someone else, rather than showing off and like, you know, doing all kinds of materialistic, superficial stuff, what you could do is you could do more helpful stuff, especially when it comes to people that matter more in your life, okay? And stuff where you won't necessarily get like a reward from it. Like no one's gonna like, you know, necessarily see and be like, oh my God, you're so cool and awesome or something like that, okay? So that's kind of the basic. And like I said, this transit, it's lasting for about a month, okay? From yeah, like I said, October 17th to November 16th. Now, also, like I said, that Saturn aspect, which is more of a positive aspect in my opinion, the part about recognizing your wants versus needs on the ego when it comes to other people, that's there the whole time, which is good. That Mars conjunction that it has, that makes your ego, that need to like kind of show off for other people and stuff, that aggressiveness, that slowly throughout the month of the end of October, October to the beginning of November, that slowly you're going to feel that getting less and less, which is good. So ideally, if you can become aware of those energies and detach, that detach can kind of become like a snowballing effect, because the distance between Mars and Sun is growing, because the Sun is already past Mars, and Mars moves slower than Sun. It moves half the speed about. So it'll slowly grow more and more apart. Also, Mercury will slowly kind of catch up to the Sun, okay? And in that process, it'll pass Mars. So what that means is, I'm just going to make a quick bullet point about that. You really want to watch your communication, okay? You don't want to, the Sun has a tendency to show off, and the Mars has a tendency to be more aggressive. Mercury represents communication and intellect, okay? So you really don't want to say anything in a show-off manner because once you say it, it's hard to take it back, okay? So really try to avoid kind of quote-unquote like flexing in a verbal manner, okay? Because Mercury represents speech. Also, I'd encourage you to look up all things Mercury represents, and really watch out for that, okay? Because Mercury is a great benefic, but when it's hammered in between two malefics, especially between Sun, which is debilitated, it can be a great time. It can be a really big time to look out, okay? So I covered the Mars aspect, I covered the Saturn aspect, I covered the fact that the sun, what the essential nature of it being debilitated in Libra. And I covered the fact that Mercury is slowly catching up to it throughout that month. So to just watch your communication. And Mercury also represents like big decisions you take, like as far as like signing contracts and stuff like that. So don't do stuff for other people as far as like in that manner. Okay, so for example, like don't I would encourage you to not, for this month, take out some big car lease, or sign like a big house or something like that. Do something crazy, especially something that involves like a loan or something like that, for the purpose of showing off to other people. Okay, that's that. Also, one other thing, like I said, the Saturn aspect can be powerful because it kind of shows you versus your wants versus needs. I think also about the beginning of November, that first week, when the Mars kind of slowly, that conjunction is not as strong. I think the moon kind of comes in, and there's a new moon around November 5th, I think. Okay, so that day is also a very good day to kind of so when moon and sun are conjunct as a new moon in the sign of Libra and Mars is with it, it can be a good time to kind of recognize these energies even more, because moon represents a mind, right? So it's when it becomes a new moon, as it gets closer and closer, especially when it's within Mars, it becomes very like burnt. Okay, because Mars is hot and sun is hot, and sun is the debilitation. Sun is in its debilitation sign. So what that means is you could notice that your mind becomes very like tired when it comes to when it comes to like the aspect of serving. Like you could notice how much you, when that new moon happens, you could notice how much you're actually serving others. Now, whether you continue going down that path or not, that's up to you. But and a new moon can be a great time to kind of just new moon's kind of the time where the moon is covered, right? So it's a great time to kind of let go. So it's a great time to kind of let go of some patterns in regards to doing stuff for other people. Okay, so when that new moon happens, that can be a great shift to just to just turn things around in that aspect. And then you have it's a great time to gain some awareness in that. And then like the rest of the 10 days of the sun transit through Libra, it's a great time to kind of fully manifest those mental changes, so that you're when it comes to this aspect of yourself, you've detached as much as possible and utilize this transit properly. Okay, so I think I've covered enough about this transit. It was a lot. I went a lot more in depth, and it's a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. I think I covered everything I needed to. So yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And until next time, talk to you guys later. Thank you.